Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Christine.
I heard you're preparing lunch or something.
No, I'm gonna wait on that.
Hi, Lydia.
Hey, folks.
Hi, Lydia.
Hi.
Oh, what a beautiful cat, Carol. Hi, Gary.
Hi, everyone.
Gary. This is Marmalade. Oh,
Marmalade. Oh, what a beauty. And obviously is very cuddly, huh? Wow. So Lydia, I called Nancy earlier and asked her if she might consider being secretary, and she was very enthusiastic.
That's great.
Yay!
Super duper.
So we are delighted that Nancy she said she would
My
start
pleasure.
today, and she's
Wonderful.
happy to do it. So let me see if I've got everybody. So I think Chris said she can't make it, Jaya can't make it, and
I was there. Jaya.
oh, Jaya is here. Okay, I thought she said, oh, that,
I'm concluding a project that might be noisy, but I'm being quieter, but I am here.
okay,
Okay?
all righty, good. That's mixed up about last month's meeting. You said you couldn't make it. Glad you're here, and you can always mute. You can always mute yourself and be noisy, Jaya.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you.
So we have 4. Yes, we have 4. And so yeah, so Chris won't be there. So then it's just Jane, who I haven't heard from her, but she may or may not be here. But why don't we get started? It is 1:32, and this is Wellfleet Recycling Committee, Tuesday, April 6, 2021. We're meeting at 1:30 this this month only, to accommodate the schedule conflict that I had. Thank you all for coming at the new time. Lydia, I wanted to introduce in the announcement period, we have a short video from one of the Nauset High School students who is helping out at the Wellfleet Fisherman's Market on Saturdays. They're helping with recycling of shells and recycling of the plastic net bags as well. So because of school, she had, her name is Diane, and Diana, she had a conflict. So I suggested she send us a video, which she has done. So I'm going to try. And if you want to provide any background, Lydia, feel free.
I think it was something that the Shellfish Constable, Nancy Chavetta, and maybe Ryan Curley too, the select board member, and some others got going. The Nauset students were looking for a volunteer project, and this has really worked out well.
Mm-hmm. So does everyone see a video on their screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and play this.
Hello everyone, my name is Diana Williams. I'm a
It's pretty noisy, so if everyone could mute, that might help.
I will, and I'm done too, so okay, I'll mute. Okay.
right now, but I did want to give you guys an explanation of our shell and bag recycling program that we do at the Shellfisherman Farmers Market. So basically, just to give you a little bit of a rundown of what the Wellfleet Shellfisherman Farmers Market is, it's every Saturday from 12 to 2 from now until May 1st and possibly extending into the summer. And what people do is they order online at wellfleetshellfisherman.org. And then they come on Saturday and they drive up in their cars, usually volunteers like myself, along with others from Nauset Regional High School. They come and we stop them and we ask if they want any recipes or if they have any shells or bags that they need to recycle from previous times that they collected shellfish orders. And then we let it continue on. They drive down to the end of the pier where they meet the truck that has their orders in it. They give them their last name or their order number. And the people up there who could be also other volunteers put the orders in their car and they drive away. So it's a really nice, quick, and easy process for people who love shellfish or want to support local shellfishermen to get access to these things. And so specifically, we collect these shells in the bags as well. And here's a little explanation about why we're doing these things and what that means for Wellfleet in the future. So we recycle oyster and clam shells because the Wellfleet Shellfish Department can use them in the spring to create juvenile oyster habitats around the harbor. The shells are called culch. When oysters spawn, the larvae swim in the water column and eventually looks for a place to settle. They prefer a shell as a substrate, and the Shellfish Department uses sea clam shells deposited in an intertidal area to create this preferred nursery habitat. Of course, oyster shells would be their absolute preference, so we are now collecting Wellfleet oyster and clam shells so we can distribute those around the harbor as well. So when people come to the Shellfisherman Farmers Market, we collect their oyster and clam shells and we put them into these little baskets we have, which is parked in front of one of the Shellfish Department's trucks. And that's the area where we also hand them out, give them recipes as well. And so we dump them into these little barrels, and then at the end, we load them all into the trunk of the car, and then they get dumped. We have to stay until spring when they'll be deposited in the harbor. So volunteers from Nauset High School Green Club help us greeters at each Saturday's market. Greeters talk to each car and explain the recycling program and how to participate. They explain what the shell will be used for and collect the shells. They take it back the bags, the shellfish come in. We disinfect the bags, the shellfishermen can use them again. The greeters also distribute recipes to encourage people to learn how to cook with oysters and other shellfish. Information about our recycling program is included in our confirmation emails to each purchaser each week. We also include these details in our newsletter and social media posts. However, the greeters are the most critical means of educating market goers about our recycling program. So for people who have never been to the Shellfisherman Farmers Market and they drive up and it's their first time, we often explain to them as volunteers what our recycling program is and how it's going to help out Wellfleet Harbor. And they usually get really excited. It's been a great program and it's been a really nice way to interact with the community in this really strange time. So these shells are put in a separate shell pile at the transfer station managed by the Shellfish Department. We allow them to age over the course of the year to eliminate any possibility of introducing disease to Wellfleet Harbor from a different water body. This is because we cannot guarantee that returning patrons will be bringing only Wellfleet shells back, and this is okay. So that's an explanation of our bag and shell recycling program that we use at the Shellfisherman Farmers Market. I totally encourage all of you to go check it out if you can. It's every Saturday from 12 to 2. Now until May 1st and possibly extending into summer because it's been really such a success. And it's a really great way to interact with local shellfishermen, volunteers from the high school, and just your community in general. So thank you so much for listening to me. If you want to email me any questions, you can use my school email, which is 22williamsd@nausetschools.org, or you can contact Nancy Sveta as well. Thank you.
So that was Diana Williams with the Nauset High School Green Club. Does anyone else have any introductions or announcements? If not, we'll continue with just a couple of upcoming events, or rather on webinars. Recycle Smart is having a home composting for zero waste webinar from 1 to 2 p.m. on April 20th. They haven't actually sent out the Zoom link yet, but it will closer to the date. And Carrie's second town hall for recycling committees and others in the community is on April 21st, the next day, and it is also on composting. She did hers first. So, and I'm not sure if the whole focus is on composting or, what's going to happen, but in any case. So we'll send out links to the, actually, I think Lydia, have you probably already sent out the town hall link to everybody? Has anybody gotten that link for the Carrie's April 21st meeting? If not,
Yes, I have it. I have it.
you have it. Yeah, I think you're on the list. Did you get it, Nancy or Jayam? You guys are both muted, so I can't hear you.
I got one, but I don't remember the date of it, so it might be, yes, I did actually, yes. It
Okay.
was composted. Yes, did. Mhm.
And Nancy, you got that email?
It was first scheduled for the 17th or something, Patriots Day. and
Oh,
Then
it's
it was
just-
a while ago.
rescheduled.
I
Yeah,
know I
Yeah.
have it in the calendar. I'm
Okay.
not sure if I got the email or not. I will,
We'll send it out again.
okay.
Alrighty. And then I think that was it.
yeah.
So Mike isn't here, so we don't have a transfer station update. Do you have anything, Lydia, about Cape Cod Commission or transfer station?
No,
Oh, they did. I'm not sure when they announced that Pay As You Throw will resume on June 1st, but that is on their website now. And Chris couldn't be here, but she wanted to confirm that and said that she would do a post about that on Instagram. So if there's nothing else, we'll go to the second agenda item, which is on the commercial water bottle ban. Am I looking at the wrong? No, this is the right thing. And there was a Globe article about PFAS. Did you send that, Nancy, or I can't remember. Was that you, Lydia? That sent a link to the Globe article about PFAS
Yeah.
contamination in drinking water on the Upper
Yeah.
Cape.
yeah, I think that was me.
Yeah. I remember when we were first starting to work on refill, we were told to call Silent Spring, who had a few years ago done a study all over the Cape, I think, for detecting PFAS. But I don't recall ever seeing any results. But in any case, it is primarily, I believe, due to what you had talked about last time, Nancy, about the plume of toxic
okay.
somethings, and from all the, well, there was two things. There was the Joint Base, and then also to the east of the airport in Hyannis, there's an area where the firefighters used a lot of foam in their training. And that apparently has seeped down into the water table.
Apparently the uniforms too, the firemen's uniforms have a lot of that embedded in them. apparently.
Right. In any case, that's a big concern all over the country with PFAS in the drinking water, as well as in a lot of other things, but that was the focus of that article.
It can be filtered out, right, on a municipal water
I
system.
think so. And apparently, one of the Outer Cape towns is filtered. Mashpee, I think, perhaps is doing some filtration to remove it. So the outreach plan. So we had a meeting. I can't remember when it was, with Gary and Ted Jones from Provincetown and Sherry
Prada.
Prada from who is the DPW director,
Stone.
P-Town, and Lydia and I think that was it.
Amy Wolf was there from Truro.
Yes, and Amy Wolf from Truro.
Mhm.
And I will send the minutes out to everybody. We sort of decided on, I don't have my notes right here, but we decided on a few things. One of them was that we would go and do more research on the apps that are available to figure out how we can let people know where refill stations are on the Outer Cape. And I just wanted to provide an update. I said at that time that the TAP app, which is the one that Sustainable Practices have been promoting, if you've already downloaded it and you got it on your phone, you still got it, but it's not in the App Store anymore, so you can't download it anymore. And I reached out to the guy who developed that app. He said that it's still functional on the website. It's not in the App Store because they're working on an update and they don't have any timeline for when it will be available again.
Hmm.
So I guess that seems like a great candidate. You know, it has everything we want. So
Yeah.
we'll just put that on hold. And I wanted to correct something that I said about the Refill app, which is a UK app. And I'm going to try, what I said was that I couldn't get the search to work, but that was only on the website. Then once I got into the app on my iPhone, I was able to use it. And I just wanted to show you some there they are. Make this big.
Nice.
So this is a screenshot from it. There are like 4 locations in Boston, and there's one on the Outer Cape. So you can, I think you can even, I saw someone that had a website on them, so you can, you know, promote a business, and they have this little refill symbol. This was the only one that's on the Cape, Turtleback Limited. It's a organization of some type, and they have one that's in their lobby. And this is about the organization. So this is the, probably can't see this very well, but that little, yeah, I can't make it bigger. This little decal, which shows a little drop coming out of it, is what they provide for business to put in their front windows. And then they're, so this is, I mean, this is a candidate, I guess, if we can get these decals and want to start using that app. I think that's a candidate. The Outer Cape Outreach Committee regarding this is going to meet again in a couple of weeks. The other assignments were Gary's looking at reusables, either branded reusables or things that businesses can sell. And Amy is looking at bulk buying of alternative water containers with water in them, like cans and bottles. And Gary, I remembered something else, and that is something called a fusti, which is, did I mention that? That it's a stainless steel holder for that's made in Italy. It's originally used for olive oil. And that's something that will keep water cold. It has a little tap on it, and we have one, the recycling committee, that we can show businesses. And that's something that maybe we could look at as an example of a way that they could provide water for people to walk in without, you know, having them go back to a sink or something.
What's it called again, Christine? A hoostie?
It's called a fusti, F-U-S-T-I. And I will email that information to you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate that.
Sure. And then Lydia is, Lydia was going to look into maybe a letter that we could send to businesses, or that the health department could send to businesses, giving them sort of a heads up and on the bylaw. Is that right, Lydia?
Yep. Mhm.
Okay. So is anybody have anything else to add on conversation about water bottle ban?
When we did the polystyrene ban, Hillary created the letter and sent it around. So I think what I'll do is just send her a template, just adapting the polystyrene one to the water one. In case she wants to use that, that might save her some time, but she may want to just
Okay.
generate it herself.
Okay.
With her on that.
Yeah, she is back at work after having her knee surgery. And I did get an email from her with questions about swap shop and refill station installations, but we'll get to that in a moment. So she's back. Chris had mentioned in a previous meeting that she would be interested in designing a decal. And Lydia, you had mentioned the refill one, you know, the drop. Wish I had a better picture of it.
I just put the email address, I mean, the URL in the chat.
Yeah, so that's what that's what their decal looks like. It's a drop of water that says refill in it. And they also, on this refill app, they have water fountains, they have reusable coffee cups. What's that one?
Great.
Reusable takeout containers and something else.
Hmm.
So they're including various plastic reduction information.
It's a pretty nice graphic. I like it.
It is,
Uh,
yeah.
Be good just to go with that. And I was thinking for the whole program, maybe either Chris could oversee this, but to try and have a maybe a competition to design a T-shirt or some kind of item that people could buy, and that
Mhm.
might generate some interest in the whole program.
Mhm. Okay,
And maybe Chris would be willing to be the point person on that, depending on how much time she has.
right.
And also, like you said, she may want to do a decal herself,
Mhm.
but we should probably, the sooner we get that, the better.
So I was looking for an old email for something else, Lydia, and I found one that you had written a couple of years ago to Refill, asking if their graphic, their detail, their detail was proprietary or whether we could use it. And he sent something back, but didn't address that particular issue. I think he said they were working on, they have a kind of partnership kind of thing where they
Licensing.
licensing thing with other people in other countries. So I guess that's something we need to readdress.
At that time, I don't think they were global, at least with the app. So now that they are, they're probably encouraging people to use it just like this
Right.
library.
One of the downsides of this app is that they have a partnership with a private with a company. So when you first open the app, it asks if you want to, connect with that company to purchase reusable products, water bottles and such.
Kind of like an ad, like a sponsorship.
Yes. But you can just, there's a little X at the top of the screen. You can just X out of that and then you get into the app.
Mhm.
So I encourage people to try it, see what they think.
Yeah.
And I had emailed them a couple of weeks ago, but the person was away was out of town. I haven't heard back, so I'll touch base again to find out about whether we can use obviously we can use their app. There is something in here to add. I don't think I took a picture of it. And I haven't tried adding anything yet. But I will do that. And I think that's all that I have. If nobody else has anything on, the other thing was we decided at the meeting that we definitely want to provide some material, whether what the media is, we're not sure about, to educate businesses, visitors about what we're doing and why it's important.
Yes.
And Chris had said she would be interested in working on that. So I guess we'll touch base with her.
That's good.
Just make a note to touch base with her about that. Next thing on the agenda under plastic reduction is aquaculture. And there was a mention about, you want to update us, Lydia?
Tom Sigia is on the Shellfish Advisory Board, and I think when he's back, after their next meeting, maybe we'll get an update. But we haven't applied for any other grants to try and get those bungee balls. Those were going to be used to hold the oyster bags onto the racks, because right now they're using zip ties and typically just cut the zip tie and chuck it into the bay. Some do, retain them and dispose of them, but a lot of them, because of the wind and the rain and the conditions, they do get lost. So the idea was to use bungee ball cords to secure these things. They would be reusable, and some are using them already, and that's successful. Grant-wise, we can see what's out there. I think there's the Mass DEP's Sustainable Materials Grant is coming up, and there might be other ones too, depending on what the Shellfish Advisory Board wants to do. They were going to partner with the Shellfishermen's Association, the same group that's sponsoring the market, the Shellfishermen's Market, and just not sure if there's another grant coming up through the Mass DEP or what. But we do have one of the problems with the last grant we submitted is we didn't have a nonprofit partner, but now we do. We could apply once it's announced.
And is the nonprofit partner the Fishermen's Alliance, or?
Yeah,
Oh, great.
the Wellfleet Shellfishermen's Association, I think it's called.
Okay.
To look
Okay, the next thing was NIPS. Is there anything you want to say, Lydia?
Well, the resolution that we sent, I think, to the select board and then to the governor that the recycling committee signed was from 2019. So if you want to do something about NIPS, maybe it's time to look at it again. I was thinking just personally, are all NIPS going to be banned or only plastic NIPS? I think in other communities, it's been all. But, and then what about putting a deposit on it instead, or is that, maybe that's not going to solve the problem? And how big a problem is it? It is a big problem in terms of litter.
Mhm.
But,
Well, given that there are two towns that have already banned them on the Cape, Mashpee and Falmouth.
could look at those
and
bylaws.
Yeah, it seems like if they can get voted through in those towns, we should be able to get that voted through on the Outer Cape.
Yeah, those are really big towns.
Mhm.
And they did both plastic and glass.
I don't know if they still use glass. I've only seen plastic.
No, they do. They still
They
have.
No, I've seen glass because sometimes I've asked for only glass.
Okay. When you buy your weekly nips.
No, every now and then I want a margarita about 3 times a year. And
Right.
I don't want the whole thing. So is it glass? Is it plastic?
Right.
Yeah. So
Well-
what I was thinking is that whatever they seem to pass, maybe if we went with whatever they did might be the best route for us to.
Right.
Maybe.
Mhm.
And send the
I
bylaws.
developed my drinking habit.
Well, it's a good portion control thing, but I don't think that's why people generally buy them.
No.
I did add down on future, no, I guess I didn't, but I thought a future agenda item might be to consider whether we want to do a bylaw ban for NIPS for next year, but that will be a while before we get to that. Anything else on NIPS? Packaging and litter, local litter laws. Do you have anything, Lydia?
I called to find out, remember?
Mhm.
I thought I reported it once. I found someone on the police department who had been there 30 years. And she assured me she never heard of anyone being called on littering. And there's actually nothing written up anywhere about littering. There's only part of a sentence if you go into the rules and regs around the beaches. But it's
Mhm.
like non-existent, so.
Okay.
I think Mike at a recent meeting, Mike Sakali of the transfer station foreman brought up littering and fines and things like that. And they were talking about pay-as-you-throw in particular, because at the time that it passed in Wellfleet, there was a lot of concern that there'd be a lot of illegal dumping. And he explained that there's a lot of illegal dumping no matter what, with pay-as-you-throw, without pay-as-you-throw. It happens from time to time. And he put it kind of funny. He said, the people that do it aren't like criminal masterminds. They tend to have material in the bags with their name and address on it, things like that. So you can, and I think they have had conversations with people that have littered this way,
Garbage. Mhm.
but
good.
not, they'll say that's a warning, basically, please, don't do this again. So that's kind of where it's at. And litter is, it's definitely a problem, but we have a huge packaging problem and disposal problem and recycling problem. So I think that's kind of a really important focus, is to focus on the places that are generating all this packaging.
Okay, next on the agenda is compost residential commercial services. Anybody have any update?
I listened to a Conservation Law Foundation webinar on composting the other day, and there's a company in Boston called Cero, C-E-R-O, that's successfully collecting food scraps and putting them into windrows and then into gardens again. Their major concern was that a lot of the scraps that are being collected are then being taken to sewage treatment plants and mixed in with that slurry stuff. And it's kind
Food
of,
waste is?
yeah, they said a
Huh.
company in Cambridge, I think Save That Stuff, I believe, is taking it to a waste treatment plant.
Oh,
That's what they reported. And they said that's not a solution. So when it comes time for the Cape to consider an anaerobic digester and sewage treatment plant and so on, hopefully they're going to keep the food scraps out of they're going to separate it from the septic stuff.
Lydia, you didn't get an answer about us promoting as a town entity promoting Black Earth
Yeah, the
compost?
Black Earth compost. I did write to the town administrator, but I haven't heard anything back. I
Okay,
spoke with the executive assistant, and they said they were working on budget issues, and
right,
that it, probably it got lost in the shuffle.
yeah.
Carrie did say something about Black Earth compost that they're maybe not going to continue, so it's a little up in the air
Oh,
what they're doing
you mean continue?
in business,
Okay.
so it's unclear to me. So yeah, I just want to look into that, but Carrie did say something about
Okay.
that. To be
Us,
continued.
Carol, we should probably do you first in the meeting, although part of your role is to listen to what we're saying, right? And Carrie, I just hate to have you sit through all this if you want to, present your stuff.
Actually, I don't have a report because we didn't meet in March and we're meeting tonight.
Oh, okay,
Nothing's happened as far as I know.
okay. By the way, what's your cat's name again?
Marmalade.
When Marmalade is lying against you, I could just see your endorphins firing in your brain. You look blissed out. There's nothing like petting a cat. Okay, thank you, Carol. So next thing is on Swap Shop reopening. So in Hillary's letter or response today, she said she thought that it would be easier than it was, but apparently the DPW is reluctant to take any steps towards reopening because all the other Cape towns have their swap shops closed. So I think maybe reaching out to Carrie about coming up with some kind of reopening plan that can be adopted, because there's no reason why a swap shop, if there's adequate protections, can't be open if stores are.
That swap shop is so difficult to distance in though, when you think of it.
Yeah, you can't.
Tight
So
space,
you have to
unless-
limit.
Unless it's done outside like a flea market and somebody's willing to bring it in. And in.
Those are problems, and it would, what Roland has suggested, months and months ago, maybe even a year ago,
Mm,
reopening plan was to have one day where people bring things, and then another day where a limited number of people are able to enter and shop. And then you just have to wait for one or two
Mm.
people to come out before others go in. For
mhm.
instance, the food pantry, I mean, it's a fairly smallish space, and the health department agreed if there's no more than 2 people in there who are masked, but the only one shopper at a time. So, I mean, we can come up with a
Yeah.
plan that's satisfactory. Unfortunately, we have, a tiny rundown building. I mean, it's possible that we could get, one of the metal trailers to store things in or to supplement the
Mm.
old building, but we don't have any money at
Yeah.
one time until our accounting issues are straightened out. So anything else on Swap Shop?
Christine, yeah, I have a question. Is there any, even just empirical evidence on these, with swap shops being closed, is things that would normally end up in the swap shop ending up in our solid waste stream, and perhaps even adding to tipping fees because of the weight of those materials going into solid waste? Is there any evidence of that at all that any of us know about?
It's very, yeah, I think Mike has talked about that, but because of the fact that, well, when recycling was shut down and pay as you throw is not in effect, I'm pretty
I
sure
see.
that volume
Yeah.
has gone up,
Good point.
and how to tease out what's what, I'm
Yeah.
not sure if that's done. I think that people, just anecdotally, I hear about a lot of people saying, what do I do with my stuff? When's the swap shop gonna open?
Right.
But that's about it. And Hillary didn't like the idea of an outdoor event where everybody would be mingling and looking in each other's cars, that was
Ah.
something.
Sure.
She
sure.
said she would rather look at reopening the swap shop, but if that's not an option right now, then yeah, who knows? But it would have to be on town property, so it would have to get permission from the town,
Sure.
et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
I have seen pictures of a swap shop. I can't remember where it was, somewhere in Massachusetts, where they had like just a tent covering.
Mm.
That was
But that
Wellesley.
means that was where?
I think Wellesley.
Yeah, that sounds good. And they basically bring everything out. But then they must have a lot of people to load it up again somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a model like that, it would be like a flea market, essentially.
Mhm.
People have to
Yes.
have their stuff and take it home again if nobody wants it. Anyway, I will reach out to Carrie about like a
Reopening plan?
reopening plan. Yeah. Water bottle refill stations. Hillary wanted to see what the state regulations were for this phase 4, step 1. So I sent the ones that I found to her, all of which say during the pandemic, promote bottle refill, close down bubblers, and sanitize them once a day. So they support the use of opening them up this year, and I hope that she will agree. So we will see. But meantime, I left a message for our harbor master, and also stopped by and left a message with somebody there that they can proceed with the installation. I asked him if it can be done by Memorial Day at the latest, and I haven't heard back yet. And I'm also touched base with one of the water commissioners. Neil had offered to install the town hall water filler. So I'm trying to get in touch with him. I've not been successful yet, but I'll keep working on that to see if he's still interested. Meanwhile, we need to get our funds restored so that we have some money to spend. On social media posts and website. So we'd asked, Lydia and I asked Chris if she might be willing to also maintain the websites, but she said that she really couldn't take that on at present because she had too many other commitments. So there are some things that need to be cleaned up, and we'll just have to work on that ourselves, meaning Lydia and I, or Lydia and or I, unless anybody else is interested in it's there's not a lot that needs to be done. It's just a matter of, you know, having bylaws on one website and just directing people to see them there rather than have one here and one there and whatever. Committee vacancies. Yes, we'll have as of June 30th, Bethia is retiring from her long service on the committee, so we will need another member and potentially two alternates. So I have the March meeting minutes. I'm actually going to try again, although I don't think anybody can see this. There they are.
Here's some slight feedback. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
I do share. Why is it paused? Well, I don't think I can get it up in such a way that we can read it. I did send it out. Lydia sent back some typo and spelling and other types of corrections, which I incorporated. Lydia, you also mentioned that something I'd left out about when we were discussing NIPS. Nancy had mentioned the universal deposit
Program in Maine.
program in Maine. So I added that in.
Great.
And I had a question during our water bottle ban outreach. I saw in my notes, it says, look into working with Chamber of Commerce, and I put me next to it, but I have no idea what that was about. I
Maybe
guess,
getting in touch with Marcia, maybe at the chamber, or
yeah, I think we were just talking about how, you know, how to whether to post things or to work with them, or I guess, I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to, it's a good idea. I'll talk to Marcia about it.
we're as members, we
Our book?
also, well, this doesn't have to do with the minutes, so never mind.
Will they put information about the water refill in their annual book that they put out?
Unfortunately, it's too late for that.
Okay.
We would have had to start earlier.
Another year that we could. No
Another
problem.
year, yeah. But we can do email blasts to all of their people on their email list, which is a lot, for $35 because we're a member. So if we get some publication together, we can certainly do that. And other than that, I guess in their newsletter, Lydia, did you, yeah, you're right. We're doing the minutes right now. Let's finish, finish minutes. Okay, so that was my only other question. And what I will do is send out the corrected one. And if anybody has anything, please, any corrections, let me know. If not, in like 2 days from now, I will go ahead and submit it. So does anybody want to make a motion to approve as written with any forthcoming corrections?
I move that we approve the minutes as amended in the future, or however say that.
I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. Okay, and at the beginning, I don't know if everyone was here yet, Nancy has agreed to serve as secretary of the recycling committee. We're delighted to have her in that capacity. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Accounting report is not available yet still. And I'm trying to get in touch. They have a lot of problems that they're dealing with, and I'm sure recycling committee is not at the top of their list, but that we're still waiting to see if our missing funds have been restored and erroneous debits corrected, etc. Is there any correspondence or future agenda items anybody has? Oh, Lydia, how about the April cleanup that Friends of the Herring River is organizing?
Thank you for reminding me. So I did send that out. It's April 17th is the beach cleanup day. And it's going to, people meet at Mayo Beach and then they're sent off from there with bags to various locations on the Bayside. I think it's mostly Bayside. And so hope you can be there. I'll provide, the bags, although we also have from a previous year, we have a whole lot of bags from a brewery up Cape. We have hops bags. They're kind of a heavy nylon bag that's pretty good for picking up stuff from the, on beach cleanups. And they're reusable. So we would just dump out the stuff that's collected. And I'll bring a bunch of those with me. I think I have like 20 of them at least.
Yeah, I have some, the things that we got together for the last cleanup we did at Duck Harbor.
The Coast Sweep, yeah.
Reusables, so I will bring those. IKEA bags are great because you can hose them down when you're done. You can stick them over your shoulder. Of course, they have garbage bags there, but we like to try to find something that's a non-plastic alternative, of course. And this is organized by Friends of the Herring River, and apparently they're going to be concentrating, their members or their board, whomever, volunteers are going to be concentrating on the gut and the in Duck Harbor and part of Great Island, I guess.
Christina, are any of the cleanups organized around Earth Day? Is there anything happening? Yeah, there.
Yeah, this one is. For
That one is Earth,
And
for
Earth
Earth Day.
Day, yeah.
Okay.
Earth Day is always April 22nd. It's always the
Right.
same day every
Right.
year.
Okay, our next meeting is May 4th, Tuesday at the usual time, 11 a.m. And if anybody has any suggestions on someone that might be interested in joining our committee, pass their names along and we will try to persuade them. If anybody wants to run for the select board, they're right, and that would be good too. Maybe there's a candidate by now, I don't know. Okay, anything else?
Oh.
Short and sweet,
Sure.
excellent.
But thorough, but thorough.
So we'll close the meeting. Do I hear a motion to close the meeting?
I'll move it.
Okay, Lydia moves. Who seconds?
Well, I'll do something proactive in this meeting. I'll second the motion.
Thank you, thank you.
By the way, I am working on someone I thought would be a really good candidate for us. But he only retired from his profession in Boston in July, and he feels like he still has to land first. So,
Okay.
we'll see.
Well, tell him if he wants to just listen in or watch a recording of the meeting.
Yeah. I'll keep whispering it to him.
Okay,
I mean, softly, he's still sort of retiring.
yeah,
But he's pretty bright, and I think he'd be good, so.
okay, great. Alrighty, so we all voted to close the meeting, right? And the time is 2:19. Less than an hour.
Wow.
Great job, everybody. I guess
Good
we just have
job,
to be
Dee.
quiet and then we'd get done soon. Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Talk to you
Thank
soon.
you, everyone. Thank you for inviting me again. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe.
Stay